Hey quilt makers, it is month 5, doggone dizzy. That's right, we are working on our awesome block of the month, Dog Park by McKenna Ryan. Are you ready to join me and make this awesome applique? Let's get started. Well, welcome back, folks. My name's Rob Appell from Stitchin Heaven out in Quitman, Texas, and right here serving you on YouTube. Super excited to have all of you back that are participating in McKenna Ryan's awesome block of the month pattern. This is called Dog Park. It's an incredible raw edge applique, and if you're participating with us, you're doing it month by month with our pre-fused laser cut applique kits. And this month we are doing the merry-go-round dogs. We're going to get into what we've got going on. I'm about halfway through it for all of you. It is doggone dizzying, I will tell you, although this month, like the last several, have been quite easy. So if you've been neglecting to get started, maybe you were a little overwhelmed with all we had to do with month 1, please drop into the smaller blocks and do those first. It'll help you get your rhythm and help you do what or get some of the feel of what you're doing. And then check out the videos. I'm trying to offer a different kind of major tip in each week's video as we go. And I apologize, last month I didn't get the angles or something. I don't know what happened as I was trying to braid the cords or the braid that the toy the dogs are playing with down there. Now, we also forgot, fortunately, to ship that to you last month. So this month, in month number 5, you're getting fabric for month number 4. If you didn't do what I did, which was just use some of your other fabrics. So that is available for you. You can cut that up and create your 3D dog toy. My iron is heating up. I'm gonna turn on my light table. And like I said, I kind of already gotten started in here. And because we're gonna be kind of doing an under, over on the merry-go-round with the 3 different dogs and these safety bars, I wanted to go ahead and get this background all put down and pressed first. Yeah, so for this month, it's gonna probably be easiest for us all to go ahead and press down all of the background pieces securely. Not overpress, remember, but quick reminders, the grass in the background, setting on your background fabric, lightest color of the variegated up towards the top. My trees, A, B, C, and D, not in that particular order, have been snuck down underneath. Then the other key piece here is on our merry-go-round. I've got my large oval piece sitting on top of that shadow piece so that it makes that line real nice and clean. And I've basically utilized a little bit of measuring off of our diagram piece here to make sure that I have the position pretty close between the background grass, the merry-go-round, and the bottom of the background grass, keeping in mind 1/4-inch seam allowances. So I might want to bring this tree over just a bit. Okay, and now what I want to do is I'm going to do the quickest, lightest press, maybe even only like 2 seconds as I go through, smoothing everything down. I just want everything as flat as possible because today we're going to be layering all 3 dogs in and out of the fun bar, the safety bars, of course, you know, for the merry-go-round. Okay, so that's just nicely warmed and settled and just barely activated, so that later on when I hit everything with the real pressure, it'll all set down perfect. I think that's gonna make great sense for us. So just a little pre-prep work before I dive into cutting out the rest of my pieces here and getting myself organized for the actual appliques of the dogs and the safety rails. So once that was done, then again, always having my pieces cut out, following the cutting instructions, right? I've been going through each month, and with a red pencil, I've been marking and putting all the numbers on the back of the fused pieces that are coming pre-cut for us, so I can pop those out and remembering putting them in the piles. All the A pieces are for the dog, one dog, the B pieces for another dog, the C pieces for another dog. Now, as I work through those, I often like to use a light table, and then I'm using the layout or the placement guide here and a piece of Teflon on top so that I can use my little Clover mini iron and tack together the separate pieces. And this month, these dogs are really clever. They're really cute, but there's a few of these that really overlap. So here, join me in close as we're finishing out our pug. And boy, Okay, so I get really dizzy, folks, and so I am really feeling for all of the dogs on this merry-go-round right now. I'm sure they're just struggling. At any rate, this is how I would normally feel. And so as you see here, I've already actually built kind of the body and the base of the face. So now I'm just going to get under here with my tweezers, start to kind of peel up as I go. And if any of the pieces kind of came loose, I might want to just tack them for a second, because this is helping me get all those little character pieces just where I want them. But remembering not to over-activate any of the glues. We really only get one shot at getting this all sealed down nice. And I also like to come underneath it here with my tweezer and just kind of peel at it as well. Now I'm going to slide the base of the pug back in, so I can just use kind of the tongue and everything here, that cheek position, and lay that right in. And now that gives me exactly what I was looking for. And I'm going to go ahead now and tack with that Clover mini iron the eyes now up into the top part of the head. There's a couple of key pieces, and on the pug, everything lays behind the pug. On our big bulldog here, there's an overlap of the railing, but there's no parts that have to really be accounted for. When we get to the hound dog, however, because of the way the cute little paws are hanging over in the ear and all of that, there's a couple of places where you're going to be really cautious, especially this dog here, the A dog. He's kind of lapped over and under the bars holding on, right? But we also have the ears and the fur flapping and all of that for the motion. So what I want you to notice real quick here is this little piece here, I believe it was A5. I'm only going to press it right up here underneath that leftover ear piece here, because it shows you in the diagram that this part is going to clearly go behind the railing piece or the handrail as it goes in later. So this is going to be one of these pieces I'm just going to lay flop until I can get everything where it goes, so that that other piece will go in behind that now. So in this today, in this block, you want to really be paying attention to the overlap of the individual pieces so that you can then make sure that we can get them into our background as we want. I've also found that using my tweezers to help remove the paper has been really nice this week, and makes things a little bit easier that way. And also on these real small pieces, I've used the tweezers to kind of fold at a side and pinch, so that that also helps release the paper from the back, holding it so I always know which side is the paper side and which side is the fabric side as we continue to build out our pooches here. Now what I did is I just ironed the ear tips, the paw tips to the body part, so I was able to flop the head portion forward and slide this railing underneath here, so that way that bar is just going to go through here. Okay, and as the bar lies in here loose, all of the bars are loose, all of the dogs are loose, but the merry-go-round base and trees and everything have been pressed down. Let me go ahead and take a moment and slide the rest of these pieces out of the way, peel my pug up, and get ready to finish out this design for us all here today. Again, I love having the small blocks to start with, because I can keep them all right on my little wool mat to move them around. Folks, you see me doing this on top of my cutting mat. I don't recommend you do that yourselves. Go ahead and make sure you have not a cutting mat underneath a wool mat ever. But we're doing it real quick here, and I'm just going to be tacking them in place before I go back here for the real final pressing. So let's walk our way through this as we look. I started actually with the pole. I'm just going to call these poles from here on out. Pole number 5, and it kind of came from the edge, running parallel, about 1/2 inch in. At least leave your 1/4 inch seam allowance. Then, because we won't be doing much more with it, I went ahead and dropped in this pole number 1 in the background. And what I really want to do is make sure that it just basically runs in behind our bulldog, and you can see kind of a parallel gap between this pole number 5 and pole number 1. Sitting up a little bit higher above it, I've got a little more showing than I probably should at the moment, and this is where the tweezers come in so handy. So with the tweezers now, I'm going to go ahead and be able to take and adjust any pieces that I need to try to help keep all of this elevation right here accurate. Okay, that's going to touch that edge. That means that this is going to come down a little bit more. And as I put in this piece 2 here, that again drops behind the bulldog, and it goes ahead and it's going to run behind our piece number, or our pole number 3. Pole number 3 is the one that goes in behind our beagle or our hound dog, whatever this guy is. And I wanted to make sure that you could see. So this pole needs to come down a little bit. And right now it's just floating behind the bulldog, but now that you've seen that, I'm dropping that in and I'm starting to watch on my placement guide the way all of these pieces come together in here. Okay, so that they make sense. So our last piece that needs to be placed in before all of them are fussy arranged is this piece number 4, which is going to go in front here. As we were mentioning before, while building out our dogs. And it's going to come all the way over here and fall into this gap, sitting on top of this first pole, but in front of, behind this other pole. So I'm going to now kind of put my fingers on this, peel with the tweezers. This is why I like the tweezers. And this is why today all of our backgrounds were in place first. So I can start to move and manipulate. And we want to see a little bit of pole number 1 behind this pole number 4. And you want them to all kind of feel like they're coming out of that wonderful center part as we remember from our childhood. This can slide back over. You would always want to make sure, though, that anything that, even if it's not exactly where it's supposed to be on the map, it sits behind that bulldog just for visual placement. Same here with our little pug, right? That pug is now laying on top of there. Key to the pug is that his paws, one is back here on the light part, and the other one looks to be, see like that? It looks like it's kind of hanging over on the 3D part of the merry-go-round. Okay, so as I'm looking, the only thing right now, so my hound dog is on the merry-go-round, and everything's positioned correctly. I think I got confused earlier when I was doing my pressing. I think I was reading 2 different lines to be going through that tail piece, because I'm not worried about that now. So what I need to do for my final check is I want to be able to pull this pole back so they're closer. That allows me to slide this guy this way a little closer. Now he matches up. Second pole's real close to that pug. And as I come over here, folks, I just want you to see I accidentally right now have that teeny little tail on top. So you want to make sure all the poles line up back here at their point of origination, so it looks like it would when we were kids. Double checking to make sure as you do your final fussing here that all of these back poles all look like they're running parallel to each other, that all of your pooches are where you want them. Not going to get caught in any of our seam allowances. We can see just a little bit of our pole back here through our hound dog, but make sure you keep the feet on the merry-go-round, right? You don't want it up there floating in the air. And that's it. So now we're going to heat up the big iron. You're going to want it dry. And again, for right now, I'm coming through here with my Clover mini iron because I don't want to put too much heat through into my wool mat. And I'm going to do some tacking, making sure everything stays where I want it. Especially if you don't have the benefit of just moving over something like your wool mat. But here I can just slide that right back over, and then just using my press and lift technique, working from one area towards the edges, I can go ahead and get this all pressed down just as I like. So folks, remember, we love having you join us in our Facebook group, our private community for those of you who are following along on the Block of the Month Dog Park by McKenna Ryan. Make sure you're posting all of your successes, asking your questions of us there. If you can't remember how to get there, folks, we've got the wonderful booklet that came, and like I said, each month you're receiving a new packet in the mail with just the fabrics you need prepared for you basically, and a color chart. But the very first month, we sent the wonderful Dog Park welcome packet, and in there, not only was the cool color photo, but there was the invitation to the Facebook group as a QR code, digital fabric links if you needed, of course, a welcome to subscribe to our newsletter, and some of the other things that you might need for housekeeping purposes. So if you've lost this, just go ahead and hit us up, info@stitchinheaven.com. Let us know your name and we'll go ahead and pull up your info from the database for your block of the month, and we'll get you the information you need. We are very proud of our customer service out there at Stitchin Heaven. You know, our dream is to have fun, be happy, and wow people. So we hope we're doing that for all of you here. Thank you for participating in McKenna Ryan's Block of the Month Dog Park. If this was not your cup of tea, check out stitchinheaven.com. We have a huge plethora of different monthly choices that you could have shipped to you by the month, whether it's patchwork, applique, traditional, modern, whatever you're liking, we've got it for you. So we'll see you soon, folks. Thanks for being here. Again, stay well.